Greetings everyone and welcome back to Top Notch Media, where we dive deep in matters to do with the mind, the power of the mind, and join us today as we continue to delve in issues that matters to our mind. And today we are going to focus on the mind and relationship. When most people talk about relationship, the first thing they think about is the heart. Most people think that it is only the heart that focuses on relationship, but also the mind plays a pivotal role in things to do with relationship. For instance, the mind, when someone is in love, the mind produces an hormone known as dopamine, which is a neurotransmitter which affects the mood, the pleasure of someone, and these are the things that lead to excitement, the urge to see someone, and those are some of the things that we want to talk about today. And with me here is Master Stan, and he is also going to help us as we dive deep into this. Okay, so something.
All right, allow me to reintroduce myself for the viewers who do not know me clearly. My name is Stanley Museti. I am the founder to Leadership International. I have been running that organization for the last 3 years. And what it does, it's transformative leadership and disruptive thinking capacity building center for the young people specifically. Apart from that, I am so much enthusiastic about personal development. So I have ventured into the personal development area, and that's why today discussing the things to do with the mind still impresses me, and it interests me so much because I know that the most powerful tool that God gave man was the mind. So us speaking about the power of the mind, we are speaking about the standard or the control room or the area where commands of your body, commands of your life, and commands of what you do every day receive their alert from. So today, us asking ourselves, does the mind affect relationships? It's interesting, very, very interesting, because as you've heard from my fellow here, Brenda, talking about where hormones come from and how they cause, or rather the effect they have in terms of relating with people. And such hormones that you need to be aware of, or we need to be aware of, one of them is dopamine, as she has talked about. As a neurotransmitter, it's called a happy hormone. When it's excreted automatically, there are some reactions that your body begins to respond to. Some other hormones include cortisol, serotonin, endorphins, epinephrine. You know, even when you are under fear, you're skeptical that somebody is going to have to break your heart. I'm sure that adrenaline is one of the hormones that is going to be released, and you'll feel the toxicity inside of your body and how angry you're going to get. So we're asking ourselves today, does the standard, which is your mind, affect how you relate with people? Yes, I agree it does, because as far as you can see determines as far as what you can have. So what you can see in your mind is what you can have in your hands. If you are used to toxicity, your mind responds to toxicity. If you are used to good energy, positivity, stoicism, your mind responds to it positively. And what you feed your mind, as I had mentioned earlier in the other session, is what affects, or rather what is reflected in your life. So us talking about our interactions, does our mind affect our interactions? Yes, it does, because when we looked at the growth mindset, the scarcity mindset, the victorious mindset, all of these things are not for personal benefit. They are for social interaction. As a human being, you're a social animal. Everything you're doing from the inside is affecting what is happening in your environment. So that if I am a happy person, automatically I'm creating an atmosphere of happiness. If I am a sad person, automatically I'm creating an atmosphere of sadness. So anytime I am around people, and there are levels of relationships, which as we look at them, you're going to see how you're playing a critical role in them. Family relationships, that relationship between your mother and your father, brother and sister, if your mind is not properly curated to fit to the needs of that particular family, it's so hard to interact. You know, have you guys stayed in a homestead where the siblings are constantly fighting? One believes that they're supposed to be getting the best clothes, while the other one doesn't get. The other one believes that they're supposed to be getting fast treatment, while the other one doesn't. I don't know if you guys are from patriarchal family like us, that if you need anything, you need to send your sister to your father, and your sister is going to convince your father for you to to make something available for you. And if you want anything from the mother, you're going to send your brother. Don't know if that is still happening. And this is just telling you how the society has shaped our minds to begin to behave, because we believe that the only person who has a soft spot to inspire or get anything from their father is the girl. And anybody who has the power to perhaps get to interact with the mother and get anything we want to the mother, it's the guy, you know. And these things are affecting how we are relating with each other at a family level. Look at even community relationships. The different communities, communities that believe that wealth is in animals, I mean cattle. The people believe that wealth is in gold. The others who believe that wealth is in business, buildings, investments, real estate. The people believe that wealth is in all those things. But all these things have been made available because of our culture. So culture has shaped how we think. So that if I was to take dowry to a person from a particular community, there is something that they're so much affiliated to, and it's easy to get to them when I get that thing. When you go, for instance, you go to Luya, you need some cows. You go to Nyanza, I don't know what you guys need. You come here in Central, you need some goats and all that. So this social engineering of the mind has determined how we interact, even in terms of what we practice. Dowry, all those things, and even giftings. There are people who believe that the best gift you can ever give them is perhaps cattle. The others will believe the best gift you can give them is cash. So this social orientation or mind orientation has been put together by what we are currently experiencing in our daily lives. So looking at it, personal relationships, the relationships we have with each other, be it a classmate, be it a friend, they are also determined by the orientation we have in our mind. So that if you believe you're a billionaire, you're going to surround yourself with who? Billionaires. If you believe that you're a loser, you don't even need to surround yourself with anybody, but you'll attract losers. You'll automatically attract losers. But if you're winning in life, or the people you're going to be attracting are top tier, people above that caliber or in that particular caliber. So even our personal relationships. But one thing I want us to recognize is that our interactions, especially in terms of social interactions, it's a reflection of our personal interactions. How do you interact with yourself? What is that you believe of yourself? There's a difference between validation, self-love, and acceptance. Most of the times we want to seek these things external, whereas they're internal. We want people to validate us because we look good. You have a hairstyle. That's like I've landed at this place and I told Dera, I've seen you've changed your hairstyle. You know, that is what we want to feel as human beings. As I told you that we are social animals. We want to feel appreciated. But I want us to shift that understanding to knowing that the highest form of validation is self-validation. What you think you are, that is exactly who you are. It doesn't matter what the image has given you. You know, society is a mirror, just reflecting what we think we are. But who is the actual person? Who do you think you are? You can judge the fish by its ability to climb a tree, but you never climb a tree. You can judge a monkey by its ability to swim, but it can never swim. So many of the times we fix ourselves into the places where we are not called to be, or who we are not, by thinking that the validation we are getting is making us become that particular person. So I want us to shun from societal validation and begin to embrace personal or self-validation. Look at self-acceptance. We feel that people have rejected us because of who we think of who we think we are. They have rejected us because of who they think we are, not who we think we are. You still remain to be authentic, you still remain to be beautiful, you still remain to be handsome, as long as you believe so. So if you feel you've been rejected by somebody because of who you are, no, it's because of who they think you are. And what they think shouldn't be your problem. Yes, we're supposed to be guarding our reputation, but what they think doesn't match with what you think of yourself should not be your problem. Self-love. we've made this thing external, that anytime you need to feel loved, it's when somebody gives you something or somebody tells you that they love you. I want us to normalize that art of telling ourselves that we are actually worthy, we are actually authentic, we are the best thing that ever happened to the world. You know, the world doesn't benefit anything if you don't know ourselves.
So tell us, how can someone get to know themselves better?
So how can someone get to know themselves better? Critical, a very, very relevant question in our age and time at this particular moment. And the problem we are suffering from, especially as a continent, is a problem of self-identity, self-discovery. There's a very big crisis, leave alone economical crisis, climatic crisis. The biggest one is identity crisis. We were colonized, and this one has affected us as the Africans. There's a club I'm running called the JKUAT Pan-African Students Association, and what we are perpetuating there is the love for Africa and the love for being African. Being African is beautiful. So looking at Africa, the identity crisis was engineered to us, apart from the social the education system, apart from the colonization and all that. We have grown up thinking that we are underdogs already, that if anything is to be good and superior, it's supposed to be coming from the Western world. If anything is supposed to be good, if it doesn't have a mark from imported from I don't know what country, if it's Kenyan, it's not good. If it's American, if it's German, it's good. If it's Italy, if it's Kitenge in Kenya, it's not good. But if it's Turkey blazer, it's okay. So that is identity. We have not appreciated who exactly we're supposed to be. So who are you? You know, I want us to imagine this. Remove all the interruptions. Remove all the interruptions. Remove all the circumstances. Remove all the predicaments. Who are you uninterrupted, Brenda? If you are asked, who are you uninterrupted? That we got all the barriers, all the family backgrounds. Who are you really? So you're supposed to know yourself from that particular level. Number one, what are you passionate about? What are your passions? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? Number two, what do you believe in? Because what you believe in, especially from the place you've come from, your origin, the manufacturer is the person who knows the product the best. He designed every product for a particular mandate. You're supposed to be going back to the manufacturer and ask the manufacturer, who did you create me to be? Because by design, when a car is manufactured, it's supposed to be doing what? Moving. When a tractor is manufactured, especially those that do a lot of farming, it's supposed to do what? Farming. So who knows the potential of that particular machine? The manufacturer. Some of us are going to the wrong manufacturers. They're thinking perhaps, yes, our parents were just incubators. You might die in them not knowing who you are. I'm telling you a fact. Most of your parents don't know who you are. It's true. Go ask your parent, who are you? They'll tell you are my daughter, yes. But when it comes to what you can do, they don't know how much you can do. The mother and the father of Elon Musk, had they seen who he is today when he was born, I don't think they'll be supporting him at that particular level. But now that he discovered himself in a world that is very hostile and he's made it, they can now be proud of it. Even us, you're supposed to go against the gradient and become the very thing that you're called to be. Number three, what are you interested in? In discovering yourself, it's critical that you get to know your passions, you get to know your interests, you get to know your gifts and talents. What are you gifted in? And there are 3 levels, there are 4 levels. There's a gift, there's a skill, there's an ability, and there's a talent. Different. And every individual should have 4 of them. You should have your gift. What is that thing that you can naturally do? You should have a skill. What is that thing that you've learned and you can now do proficiently? You should have an ability. What do you know? What knowledge do you have? Then you should have a what? Talent. What is this thing that is so much you can do it with ease? Be it learning, and it transitions from skill to become a talent. You can be a very good photographer. It becomes a talent when you can easily do it. If somebody works in the night, even without seeing, you've edited the photo and it has come perfectly. You become a speaker and orator. Even without preparing, you begin to speak things from the place of competence. So it's critical you get to know them. And then what are your weaknesses? And then what are your strengths? So get to know what you're very good at. And after knowing what you're very good at, know what you're not good at. Then find people who can complement what you're not good at with what you're good at. Then find people you can complement with what you're good at, and then they complement what you're not good at.
So what I've grabbed there is that human beings are social beings, and if they were here just for the biological needs, it wouldn't matter what other people think about them. But human beings really care about what other fellows think about them. That is why you find that, for instance, after someone dresses well and expect compliment from others. Yeah, so we find that also parenting and also how someone has been brought up also affect the relationship, how he relates with others. For instance, we can find that a child who was never allowed to express himself while he is at a young age turns to be an introvert, and he or she will have a difficulty relating with other people, because according to him, he knows that silence is the best, and if you keep quiet to avoid other situations and also to be alone, to isolate yourself, to do your things in your own way, that is the best way you can live. But you'll find that other children who are brought up in an environment where they were allowed to express how they feel, to express their thoughts, will have a difficulty to also understand this child, this person, because they'll ask themselves, why is he always quiet? Why is she always quiet? Why can't he talk? You know, according to that, someone who doesn't know how he or she was brought up will have hatred for that person, yet he's also just trying to fit in the society, trying to be accepted for who she is. So it's very difficult to understand others if you are not brought up the same way. That is why we find that we have people like introverts, the ambiverts, the extrovert, those who socialize a lot, and those who also are just in the medium, the ambiverts. Those are the ones in the medium. So that's all I have to say. So maybe you can add more.
It's interesting that parenting factors, especially when you're growing up, I call them the interruptions. These are some of the interruptions. You might not know what interruption affected an individual, because we grow up in different environments. If you grow up in a well-established family, maybe you're going through pain. And if you never grew up from a well-established family, you're suffering from poverty. There's always something you're suffering from. There's always something, and everybody is going through something. So we're supposed to be very sensitive beings when interacting with other people. But I want you to recognize that being extrovert, being introvert, being ambivert, because of how you grew up, is not supposed to be an identity. That is not who you are. You're supposed to be fighting, especially in terms of exposure and getting to arm yourself with the right information, fighting to know who you are. It's very critical that you put away the things to do with your parents, put away the things to do with the environment you grew up in, put away the things you never got, put away the things you had and they were used against you, put away the pain you went through while you're growing up, and now begin to form yourself. In other words, begin to recreate yourself, begin to discover yourself. Because some of us here, especially the introverts, I'm speaking to you, you might recognize that you are never introverts. Some of you will just recognize that you're lacking exposure, or rather you're just afraid of launching into who you truly are. And the moment you discover what you can do, my friend, I'm telling you, you may even wonder if Brenda is an introvert. And some people, while they are alone, you'll even wonder if they are extroverts. So who are you really, truly? Because that is science trying to define you. They've even given you temperaments. I think the 4 temperaments. You're either sanguine, choleric, phlegmatic, melancholic, and all those things. But of importance is this, that you get to discover what you can do, then begin to offer value to the world. Don't be a silent killer, telling us that you cannot speak in public. You're just afraid of practicing public speaking. Go enroll for public speaking class. Don't tell us that I never had a moment of speaking, or I have social anxiety. You're just lacking exposure. You are missing out on opportunities because you can't speak. Let us tell each other the truth. You're missing out the opportunity because you can't speak. So what am I saying? Go learn and fix it. That's why I said that if you have a weakness in something, find people who are good in it and let them compliment you. What I'm saying by complimenting is that let them teach you how to come out of it. And then the places you have strength in, go and teach other people who are missing out on the same thing. And then let them come up so that you have a cohesive environment, especially a cohesive, unified community. So that if somebody is good in photography and I'm desiring to become good in photography, doesn't mean I can't become a photographer. If I'm total, I'll become. In fact, I might even become the best, better than my master. Have you seen? I hope you guys have watched martial arts. Most of the times, people who are trained by the masters tend to become better to beat the master. So don't be afraid. Lack of exposure, lack of experience, lack of knowledge. If you had the right exposure, you had the right experience, and you had the right knowledge, I'm sure everybody will be doing good in life. So that if you're an ambivert, what does it really mean? And how does it affect how I interact with people? How does it affect how I offer my value to the world? How does it affect how I am achieving my assignment and mandate here on earth? If it affects what I am doing, then that is not who I am. That is just a label I have put on myself. Some of us have labeled ourselves extroverts. Others have labeled themselves introverts. So we need to go beyond the label. Rather, let's go beyond the mask. Remove that mask and become who you truly were called to become. Because I don't believe somebody was called to be behind the curtains without fulfilling purpose. Unless behind those curtains there's something you're doing there. But if there's nothing you're doing there, you're wasting time. In fact, you are contributing to the problems we're having in our world. Become better.
Okay, that's educative. You can get to learn from something. So the introverts and the extroverts, get out, expose yourself to the new things and discover who you are. So we find that in mind also, we find that there's a point whereby, for instance, the constant thoughts about someone and about trust, feeling comfortable, trust, security. You find that if you are around the people you know, you feel comfortable, you feel secured, and you feel like you trust them. But when you are around the people you doesn't know, so still the chemical, what was the chemical again, remind me of the chemical? The dopamine. Yes, the dopamine, the chemical will be released and you'll realize that you are not safe. That is what leads to tension. You are tensing, you don't feel safe, you feel like leaving a place. So what's your take on that?
The way God designed, yes, the way God designed us as human beings. Now when you come to the biological makeup, as a medical student, these are things we study a lot. Biological makeup, naturally your body is supposed to be self-sufficient, so that if there's an excess or an influx in the things you're taking, it automatically balances them. It's a process we call homeostasis in the body, so that even if you take a jug of water, your cells don't burst. But when you do that on a normal plant tissue, they burst. When you take 1 kg of sugar today, you won't become diabetic. Your body is going to excrete that and return the body to a place of balance. So when it comes to trust, security, and just feeling safe around people, this is in accordance to what your conditioning, especially the conditioning of your body, in terms of the experiences you've had with people in the past. So if you've had good experiences with people, your body is very, very, very welcoming. Your mind is very welcoming, and you find that social beings are very open to strangers. If you had a bad experience in the past, your body responds, it reacts, it doesn't act. It reacts to moments, to triggers. If there's somebody who's talking to you and you remember there's something a stranger did to you, automatically your body begins to protect itself by telling you that, Stan, you've been to such a place before, please run away. How do you run away? You become so much afraid. Some of us will even become sweaty. Others, they begin to shiver. Others will begin to tremble. And that is not a bad thing. It's just your body reminding you that this environment is not safe for you. Sometimes the environment is safe, but you've not conditioned yourself to accept it. So it's critical that you get to fix your mind to a place where you can easily condition yourself to new environments, so that you find somebody who transitions from Kenya to another world, they're not easily welcoming and they can easily fall into depression, not because somebody has hurt them, but their body doesn't accept new people in. So it's critical that you get to become the chief regulator of your hormones. It's an involuntary process, but it can become voluntary process because you're the one who chooses what to think. You don't just get aroused without thinking about arousal. You just don't get angry without feeling, without coming to a place where these thoughts have begun to cause a reaction in your mind. So you allow that reaction to happen. Remember, you have that power. That's why you're talking about the power of your mind. You have the power to determine whether this thought is going to become a process, so I'm going to react on, or I'm going to brush it off. So recognize that there are people you're going to allow them. Yes, however much you're becoming sensitive, there's a book I want to recommend to you people. You need to read by Daniel Goleman. It's called Social Intelligence. How do you read the room? How do you read personal space? How do you study emotional intelligence? How do you read the spaces? How do you read eye contact of people? How do you read energies, especially in terms of interacting with people? So give people that time. You can give people a benefit of doubt, irrespective of what happened in the past. I want you to recognize that there's a tendency of us thinking that what happened in the past might repeat itself on any new occurrence, but that is not always the case. I want you to be very much open to new interactions, so that trust again, yes, it gets broken, but you're giving it a benefit of doubt. It might not be it might not be fixed 100%, but give it a benefit of doubt. Learn also to feel secure with yourself, so that you do not get validation from external environments. Your safety is going to determine how you're going to interact with other people, and your security as well is going to be determined by you. It's critical that you get to know that trust is gained, not given. So allow people to earn your trust, or allow yourself to earn their trust. Give people time. Then remember that security is determined by you, not the other person. You might trust them for your own safety, but they end up hurting you. So learn to command the space. Learn to teach people how to treat you. Learn to tell people when they are crossing the boundaries. Learn to say no when you don't feel right with it.
Okay, so maybe your last word to the audience and to the viewers.
Fantastic. So my last word is that your mind has the power only if you're going to utilize it. Your mind has a lot of potential to turn you from who you are to who you're supposed to be. You have the capacity to transition from the small you to a giant you only by utilizing the mind. So the highest form of your being is not in your physical form, it's in your spiritual form, and your spiritual form is linked to what you think, and mindset is everything. What you can think, what you can see in your mind, you can have in your hands. So begin to think about good things, begin to think about better things, begin to think about big and marvelous things. Then you'll begin to automatically see them happening in reality. Thank you so much. See you on the next one.
Okay, so mind matters, and it really have a significant role in shaping your thoughts, and learn to know the emotional intelligence, the communication styles, and how to control your thoughts to avoid being on the negative side. And thank you so much. This is The Power of the Mind by Top Notch Media. See you till next time. Cheers.